everybody. How's everybody doing? I'm doing fan-freaking-tastic, thank you very much. Right now, I am getting ready to go through a wait station. So, let's see. Yeah, I am going to have to go in. So, here's hoping that, there's nothing wrong with my wait. But, I should probably expect not to go over scales. And even if I do, they're just checking to see if, my tandems are right. I've planned for an open weight station, and I've always prepared for the inevitability that they may end up weighing me. And that's really the topic of this episode of Trucking Tips and Tricks. And they're going to give me the bypass lane, so I've prepared for the other inevitability that they're just going to tell me to keep going. And that's just normal truck stop, or no, not truck stop, wait station stuff. So you know what, I'm very glad that it worked out in my favor. So in this episode of Trucking Tips and Tricks, we will be talking about being on the road, which involves a lot of stuff. It involves a lot of traffic, a lot of driving, a lot of planning, and it's just a bunch of, that's basically what it is, planning and preparing. And I've made up this little made-up list that helps me a lot, and it might help you if you're intending on becoming a truck driver. And if you are a truck driver, this might help you a lot. Now, the route that I'm on takes me from Georgia to Chicago, Illinois, to Kingstown, to New Kingstown, Pennsylvania, back to Georgia. So, you got to plan for the inevitability of traffic, especially in Nashville, especially in Chicago, especially around Atlanta. You also got to plan for construction zones, prepare for the speed limit changes, all that good stuff. So I'm going to teach you guys a couple of P's, and I'm going to call them the 4 P's. And they'll be really easy to remember because you'll be doing this almost every single day. Plan, prepare, pre-trip, post-trip. And there's a reason why I include post-trip as part of these 4 Ps, and that's mainly because the post-trip is probably the most important part of your journey. Now, plan and pre-trip is more or less the same thing. Making sure your truck is okay, good to go, and so on and so forth. When you think of planning, okay, so say our current plan is from Kennesaw, Georgia to Joliet, Illinois, which is a regular route for me. Okay, so what should I plan for? Well, my route, for one, my route is Interstate 75 to 24 to 57. There's going to be at least 2 fuel stops along the way. And the fuel stops that they usually put me on is the Loves at Nickajack Lake. Okay, I go there anyways. I stop there almost every single day, or every single time I pass through. And the Petro in Monty, Illinois. Okay, so we got the planning down. Now we should prepare the next phase. Prepare. We should prepare for the inevitability of traffic. We should also prepare for the inevitability of construction zones. We should also prepare for the inevitability that there are idiots out there that will do anything in their power to cut you off, get to whatever exits up ahead, and basically ruin your day. Also prepare for an inevitable accident that probably has your name written all over it. How's the weather like to Illinois, to basically Chicago? Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be warm? It's fall now, so it's starting to get a little cool, a little chilly. You're going to want a jacket. You're going to want to carry a heavy coat with you for that transition from fall to winter, because it does get winter a little early up there in Illinois, so you should definitely prepare for winter. And you know, make sure all of your technology's updated, good to go. GPS has the correct coordinates, or you at least know where the heck you're going. Have you been there before? If so, do you know if there's a nearby truck stop you could potentially stay at for the night? I know that there's a truck stop on 55 that's at least 5 miles, no, not 5 miles, at least 5 or 4 miles away from where I deliver over in Joliet, deliver/pick up from. I either pick up at the same place that I deliver, or I pick up somewhere else. And usually that somewhere else is Yorktown, Illinois, which is another 30 miles, which will take me at least an hour because the traffic is pretty bad. And not to mention, I have to go on some back roads. At that case, I know that there's another truck stop on Interstate 80 that I can go to, TA. It's pretty big, and there's usually a couple spots available by the time I'm done that day. You should also have backup plans in case the truck stop you're going to is full for whatever reason. That is the reason why I always aim for TAs if I'm going to run a little later than usual, or just in general. The Petro over outside Joliet is usually not that full. It's a very big truck stop, and even when it is full, there's usually a lot of room to park, even if you want to get a paid parking spot that night. The TA south of Yorktown, though, or Yorkville, or whatever the hell that place is. I can't remember exactly where that TA is, or if it's, no, it's a TA, I remember. But that TA is just a bit smaller than that Petro outside of Joliet. So that's probably a scenario in which I would have to do paid parking. But again, that TA is almost the same size as that Petro. It's just a tad bit smaller, so it would get full a lot quicker. So you basically just got to get lucky at that point. Pre-trip is basically something you're doing every single day. You're checking the state of your truck. Now, if you've seen any of my earlier trucking tips and tricks, I don't do an entire pre-trip. I do an entire post-trip looking at everything that's wrong, because nothing's going to freaking happen overnight while you're sleeping. I can promise you that. The only things you should really look for in a pre-trip is basically oil, tires, brakes, your electric and air lines, lights, and your locks on your trailer if you have any. What I do is I just jiggle the little handle, try to pull on it, try to see if it's loose. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where the trailer doors would just randomly fly open, but you know, you still want to make sure that your trailer doors are still shut tight. If you don't have any locks or seals on your trailer, open up your doors, see what's inside, see if everything's okay, see if everything's been, you know, misplaced, if your load's shifted. If you got one of the little doors on your trailer, use that as well. You know, in the case that, you know, you have a sealed trailer, use that little door. Post-trip, just like I said, is you're checking literally everything from pipes, belts, oil, coolant, windshield wiper fluid. Yes, windshield wiper fluid. Your windshield, or your windshield wipers, I should say. Basically, everything else you didn't check in your pre-trip, you do in your post-trip. That way, the next morning when you wake up, all you're really doing is checking the main, more or less, things that you have to worry about while you're driving. Your lights, tires, brakes, oil, fuel. I'm getting ready to stop for fuel now, so, you know, that's planning and preparing. I'm preparing for the inevitability that I have to stop for fuel, and I also plan for that. Now at this point, I'm also looking for something to eat. Now, I did have a bit of a good breakfast this morning. I had Dunkin' Donuts and an iced macchiato. And I'm going to tell you what, I think I found my favorite Dunkin' Donuts drink. So, you know, it's really good, just so you know. At the same time, you should really know where you're going to stop, where you're going to fuel, where you're going. You know, like I said, sometimes you can't plan for everything. I know in my very first year driving a semi, I got stuck in a winter storm. Now, luckily for me, all I had to do was just put my truck into auto start mode so I could keep my heater going so I could stay warm when I got stuck on Interstate 75 in Kentucky. So, you know, I got lucky. I didn't entirely plan for that, but you know, it was a very unfortunate situation where I got stuck in a very bad winter storm, and you know, from there on, I started to plan for the inevitability of that happening again. You know, this is going to be my third winter trucking. So, you know, I'm prepared for that inevitability that if I happen to get stuck on the interstate again, you know, I have a semi that has an auto start mode so that I can keep warm. I have a thermal blanket that will definitely keep me warm, even when my truck is off. And I have the power to tell my company, hey, the weather's getting really bad. I'm going to stop for the night or for the day and wait the storm out. You know, as a truck driver, or I should say, no, as a truck driver, you have that power to say when you're going to stop for the day. Now, when you're a company driver, you only have that power when there's an emergency, such as weather. Now, when I was working for Jacobson earlier this year, I almost got stuck in a tropical storm. And, you know, at that time I was weighing less than 10,000 pounds. So I'm a very light truck. I can get blown over very easily with that kind of wind. So I told my manager, look, if you want me to keep going, I'm going to have to go around this. I'm going to have to go around somehow to I-20, go to Highway 80, follow Highway 80 around this freaking storm, get as far away from this storm as possible. Because if I stay there, if I stay in Mobile that night, I would have gotten stuck by that tropical storm, and I would have had to stay there until it passed. There's no freaking way I was going to freaking get stuck there. So, you know, it was very unfortunate, but you know, you had to do what you had to do. With this company, I've yet to have that situation because, you know, I don't go that far south. And, you know, even when I had that tropical storm just the other week, I think it was early last week, when that tropical storm came through, you know, it was very weak. So it wasn't really that bad. I didn't tell my company, hey, I can't do anything. There's this freaking tropical storm here. You know, it's wind speed. So wind speed of a tropical storm that's still in the ocean would still have about very strong, it's a possible chance that there's still some very strong winds. So, you know, you still got to plan and prepare for that. So, that's basically the whole point of this short little video. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I'm going to go ahead and fuel now, hopefully eventually when this guy gets pulled up. If there's anything else you guys need to know about the 4 Ps, which again, it's plan, prepare, pre-trip, and post-trip, is do a mock scenario. For example, if a tornado, if you're going through the Midwest or the plains or whatever, and a tornado situation happened, what would you do during an event like that? Me personally, if I was stuck in a situation where it was like a freaking severe thunderstorm to a tornado, I would stop immediately. And I have been in a situation like that where, you know, there were tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings. I just stopped because there was no way I was going to get stuck in this fucking truck. So, you know, when you're going through areas, try to predict the weather. If you have a weather app on your phone, use it. I personally use My Radar. It's an app called My Radar, and I have, and I bought some extras along to that, which includes HD radar, hurricanes, so on and so forth, so I can predict a little more accurately than other radar apps. It's one of my personal favorite radar weather apps around. It's for Android, and I don't know if it's for iOS, but I think it is. And again, it's very useful. It will alert you when there's an alert for the area that you're in, and it tracks you. So whenever there's like severe weather that's going to happen within 24 hours or so, it'll alert you. And then, you know, it'll make an alert sound when there's a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning or any kind of warnings or watches or so on and so forth. So, you know, it's a very useful app. I like it, and you know, it's very useful. So anyways, I'm going to go see why this guy isn't fucking moving, because I know he's not fueling. I know he's not fueling, so I'm going to go yell at some people. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.